Good evening. Welcome to the January 11th Kettleville Hills Board of Commissioners meeting. We call the meeting to order, and if you would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if you would also join us now for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. First up on the agenda this evening is the agenda approval.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion or comments? All those in favor, please signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is the first time this evening set aside for public comment. This is an opportunity for the public to address the board on any items of their choice. We do ask if you're speaking tonight at public comment, if you're speaking as an individual, to limit your comments to 3 minutes. If you're speaking on behalf of a group, if you could limit those comments to 5 minutes. And then after all of the public comment, we'll move to response to public comment. Mary, were there any names? Did anyone sign up?
Mary. Ma'am.
Okay. That's okay if you didn't and you still wish to speak. Is there anyone who wishes to speak at this public comment time? Anyone? Okay. Well, we'll have another time set aside a little bit later. We'll move on then. Actually, we do not have any old business, so we'll move straight into our new business. And this is the presentation of the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report for fiscal year 2014-2015 and the Award for Excellence in Financial Reporting for fiscal year 2014. So, Beverly, are you going to kick us off? Or
I think
Teresa's going to kick us off? Welcome, Teresa.
Good evening. I'm here tonight to present the results of your June 30th, 2015 annual independent audit. The town has received an unqualified opinion on its financial statements, which is the best opinion you can receive, and this is found on pages 1 and 2 of your audit report. Additionally, there were no findings related to internal control over financial reporting or over compliance with laws, regulations, and grants, and that report can be found on pages 153 and 154. The town prepares a comprehensive annual financial report, which is a step beyond the basic required financial statements and disclosures. It includes significant additional statistical data that more fully presents the town's financial history and performance. The report's 154 pages long, so I'm not going to go through the entire report with you tonight. I just want to hit on a couple of highlights for you. In the general fund, the town's unassigned fund balance at June 30th, 2015 was $7,772,934, which represents 57.88% of the town's fiscal year 15 expenditures, and this is in compliance with the town's minimum fund balance policy. This is an increase over the prior year and is primarily a result of revenues exceeding budget expectations in several revenue categories, along with savings in several departmental expenditure budgets. Additionally, the town used less unassigned fund balance to balance its fiscal year 16 budget than it did in fiscal year 15. In the water fund, there was a positive increase in net assets. Operating and capital revenues more than covered operating expenses and depreciation. In the wastewater fund, there was a decrease in net assets. Although operating revenues are sufficient to cover operating expenses, it is insufficient to cover all of the depreciation. The tax collection rate on ad valorem taxes was 99.37%, which is an excellent collection rate. The town implemented a new accounting standard this year called GASB Statement 68, which was for accounting and financial reporting for pensions. This new standard requires local governments in North Carolina to recognize its proportionate share of the North Carolina State Retirement System pension asset or liability, whichever is the case. Fortunately, North Carolina's retirement system is one of the strongest in the country and is overfunded, meaning that the town has recognized a portion of that asset in its financial statements. Following along the same lines as this accounting standard, local governments are preparing to implement a similar standard for retiree health insurance. This will affect the town in fiscal year 18 and will require the town to recognize the full actuarial liability for its retiree health insurance plan, where currently we only recognize an amortized portion. We are continuing to monitor developments on this standard so that the town will be prepared to implement this when it's required. Overall, the town ended the year in very good financial condition, and I would like to thank the Finance Department and all departments for their help in my work, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you.
And I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Do we have any idea at this point what the dollar amount difference is going to be for fiscal year 18 related to the retiree insurance?
I can, if you'll give me 1 minute. Get to the right spot. Yeah, let me get to the right place. Okay, if I could get you to go to page 80, and I hope I'm on the right page with you, is that right? Okay. You have an actuarial study on your retiree health insurance plan done every 3 years, and at 12/31/12, which is the last time you had a study done, your actuarial accrued liability was $7,400,215. And you're already recognizing a portion of that liability. And let me tell you how much of that you're recognizing. That's in the notes if you get to it before I do. Currently, you're recognizing a liability of a little over $2 million. So what that means come 18 is you're going to be recognizing the difference between the 7.4 million and the 2 million. So a large significant amount. I can tell you that right now the LGC is doing some surveys with local governments. The standard for that is a reporting standard. It's not a funding requirement. You don't actually have to set the money aside, but you have to report the liability. And they're starting to ask more questions at the time of doing the annual audit so that they can get some census data from local governments to find out what local governments are doing so far as funding it.
Okay, great information.
But it is going to be a big change for local governments.
Yeah. Great. Thank you very much, Teresa.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Comments?
All right, thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Teresa.
Thanks, Teresa.
Now, our Finance Director, Beverly Kissinger, is going to present the Certificate of Achievement for Financial Excellence.
Good evening. The Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting has been awarded to the town of Kettle Hills by the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada, known as the GFOA, for its June 30th, 2014 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. The Certificate of Achievement is the highest form of recognition in the area of governmental accounting and financial reporting, and its attainment represents a significant accomplishment by a government and its management. The CAFR has been judged by an impartial panel to meet the high standards of the program, including demonstrating a constructive spirit of full disclosure to clearly communicate its financial story. The GFOA is a nonprofit professional association serving approximately 17,500 government finance professionals. Special recognition goes to Amy Miller and Sharon Osbrook, as they were primarily responsible for preparing the award-winning CAFR, as well as appreciation to each member of the Finance Department who assisted in the preparation of this report. I also want to thank the town manager, the mayor, and Board of Commissioners for your continued support for maintaining the highest standards of professionalism in the management and reporting of the town's finances. And this is the 27th consecutive year we've received this award, So they stopped sending plaques and they just send us buttons to go on the plaque. But this is the award and this is our button. So I want to thank
Great.
you.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beverly.
That's a significant honor, even though it's 27 years going. It doesn't take away from the work that's done and the preparation and the attention to detail that's put in every year. We have a top-notch finance department, and I appreciate the work that you guys all do. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
No, I think they do a great job. They, like I say, 20-plus years, and it's it's getting to be a habit, but it's a good one. You guys done a great job.
Takes just as much time every year to do it.
That's right. And I would say for anyone in the audience or anyone listening, if you do ever have any questions regarding the town's budget or financial questions with the town, our staff are very willing and incredibly competent and happy to sit down and answer questions. We often get to budget time and we don't hear very much from folks. So if you do have questions, you can send them through us or direct them directly to our finance staff. But great, thank you. Okay. We'll move on to Commissioner's agenda. Next item on the agenda.
Okay, just one quick thing. On the OBX Locals Facebook page, there's always interesting posts, but one caught my eye the other day. Gentleman was thanking the Kittle Hills Police Department guy that stopped and picked him up when he's walking down the street, and it was the night it was snowed. So I'd just like to point that out, that people do appreciate what you guys do. So that's all. Thanks.
I saw that too. It's nice to see the positive
The positive something. Yeah.
comments coming through. Thanks for sharing that.
The only thing, as we go into our budget cycle, I would like us to look at doing the more porta potties at the beach accesses.
It's on
So,
the list, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've gotten so much recognition for, making sure we had that one on Bay Drive, and so being able to have them on the beach access is a good thing.
Yes.
Good for me.
Commissioner Rubetta?
Nothing this evening.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, we had our first trash attack meeting Thursday. Chris Merrick's running the show. He did such a great job last year, and his organizational skills always amaze me. I'm a little jealous. I complimented him on that, but it's looking really good, and we were going over some statistics from last year. And we had the T-shirts and the pizzas, and a portion of the pizzas were donated, and the others we got at a discount for the thing afterwards. But we're going to be looking at trying to possibly get, and I should have done it probably ahead of time, but talk to the chief or Dana about maybe staging one of our patrol vehicles there with the lights on up by the fire department because of the traffic, or traffic cones or something. Or even, I guess, borrowing Neg's Head sign that's lighted and says beware trash attack or something. But because there's a lot going on there, we had way over 200 people there last year, and really looking forward to doing it this year. And I don't have a date in front of me, I'm sorry. You got it.
March 12th?
March 12th, rain date 19th.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, everybody show up. It was a lot of fun. I've done it the last, as many years as I can remember. And last year was the most fun. It was a great time. So, we'll keep you posted on the progress there and see if we can get some publicity. Chris went on the radio last year a couple of times in the morning on morning shows, and that really helped get people out. We had people coming that didn't even live here, people from Kitty Hawk and Neg's Head that just sounded like fun, so they came down and did it. And that was really great. I think that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to Mayor's agenda. A few items this evening. One is in your packet. It's about the crosswalk plan discussions. Back in September, we agreed to consider this at a future meeting and prior kind of to going into our budget discussions. So just wanted to put this out as a reminder that we will put this on our agenda for our February 8th meeting so we can talk about the crosswalk plan. I know I received an email just as I was coming in from someone, and it has to do with pedestrian safety, so I'll certainly read that tonight, and that may factor into it as well. But if anyone is interested, you can go back and watch the September 21st meeting and our discussion on crosswalks, because there were a few things that we were talking about possibly considering doing, and certainly we welcome any input if citizens have that. But looking at possibly, there's a couple of options for some safety upgrades, but of course, all of those come with some type of dollar amount, so that's why we need to discuss it before we head into our budget preparations. So we'll do that again on February 8th at that meeting. You may notice some of the little balls hanging from the ceiling. I guess those are speakers, and they're
Lights.
part of the overall upgrade for our equipment. You notice the big TVs that used to be right here that were really kind of a bit of a hazard. They were hanging from the ceiling. They have been removed, and you've got the TVs on the wall. This is part of a overall equipment and system upgrade, kind of bring us into, or to equip us with the technology to do what we need to do for meetings. We were able to do this with some grant funding, but also certainly some other town funding. And, you know, it's great because now we have equipment that we can rely on. We can make sure that we're seeing the same thing that's on the screens that the citizens or those of you in the room are seeing. Before, we had nights where we could not see what you all were seeing, and vice versa. So this is great. And the other thing that it also helps do is these are now permanent fixtures here. So the hours that have historically been spent setting up to prepare for a meeting and then breaking down afterwards, this enables us to be much more efficient with that and reduce the staff time that's involved in doing that. So I think all of the staff that have worked really hard to get this done. I know through some of the diligence, Michael Odell back there and Mary and Price Shopping really did a lot on the budget that they had. And anyway, appreciate all the work that's gone into this. Just call your attention, and I know we all know because it's on our calendar for Friday morning. It's been put in the newspaper, the press releases, but this coming Friday the 15th at 8:30 is a special work session that we've called to discuss kind of hotel motel potential, kind of just looking at development, redevelopment. We sent personal letters to the different hotel moteliers in the area, encourage them to come have a discussion with us, as well as citizens. This came up when we were discussing the floor area ratio and, or also then changing the ordinances related to multifamily dwellings. And at the time when we adopted a change there was a concern that we were limiting the ability of hotel motel redevelopment with that. So this is just to kind of revisit that discussion and just see where it goes. So there won't be any decisions made at that meeting, but it'll give us it's going to be a great platform to hear from the moteliers as well as citizens. And we've been hearing some feedback from emails, and so we look forward to continuing those discussions. But that is this coming Friday the 15th at 8:30. Another item, I received an email, and I don't have his name in front of me. I tried to pull up the email again as I was walking in, but it wasn't coming up. But it's a professor at Washington University who is doing a study on government interaction and communication with citizens. And basically, they're looking for different towns and cities to participate in this study, where it's basically a Survey Monkey email that they would survey. They've got a standard list of questions, but they provide the towns an opportunity to add additional questions. It's where we could maybe, Colleen, I immediately thought of you when I received the email, where we could add our own questions about citizen engagement and how to encourage more citizen engagement. Some of the standard questions they already have are about how do you like to receive information. So anyway, the email that I received was, would we be interested in participating in this? And as I understand it, what it would mean is that they would first we would determine any additional questions that we wanted to add to the survey, give them to them, they'd put it in their format, they would email us back the introductory paragraph describing what the survey is, that it's completely optional to participate or not. And then we would send that out maybe through our Sunshine List, also just the list that we have, the different listservs. So I guess first and foremost, I wanted to bring forward to this group if you thought it was something that you'd be interested in us participating in as the town. And then if so, maybe encourage anyone to think of questions, or also maybe even put it on Colleen to think of some questions as well to help us or anyone else out there. So, what do you think?
It sounds
Sounds
good.
good.
Sounds
How
good
do,
to me.
how do we get
Yeah.
results and that type of thing?
They are
from-
responsible. It's part of this research project. It's professors, tenured professors have to do so many research and projects over the different universities vary, but this is one that he's spearheading. So ultimately, he'll be writing some type of journal or a journal article or something. But the results would come back to us, not only the global results on how everyone's information, but the questions that we put in specific to Kettle Hills will get specific KDH information back in
That'd-
data.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So, okay. Well, I will follow up with him, and then I'll work with Debbie and Mary, and then I'll send the communication to you all as well as far as the general questionnaire, and then we'll send some type of information out for anyone that would like to add questions to it. I need to get the timeline. I gathered from the last email that it's kind of sooner rather than later, but we'll figure that out. Okay, well, I'll keep you all posted on how that proceeds, and I'll get back with him this week. And then the last thing is I'm just recognizing Dale Bliss, one of our utility maintenance technicians, just recently retired. He started with the town back in 2005 and then just recently retired. So, that is all I have this evening. Debbie? Oops, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, no, could I say one thing? I just want to
Yeah.
mention Amy's here tonight. Amy, from the formerly of our finance department. I just want to give her a special thanks, and for those of you who don't know, she's moved on to bigger and better things, and we're gonna miss
Let
her.
her go yet. We still got her a
We're-
little longer.
Yeah, she's
Little
still with
while
us a
longer.
little bit.
We're gonna miss her.
Yeah.
You've done a great job.
She's still
thank
gonna
you.
live in Kildover Hills though, right?
It's not going far.
So you can vote, right?
It's where, do you mind us recognizing what you're doing? No. Yeah. Amy is actually going to be the new finance director for the town of Nags Head. So it's definitely a loss for us, but we support, it's a nice growth opportunity professionally for Amy. And so she'll take all the skills and knowledge that she learned and that we benefited from and take it to the town of Kildover Hills. So, but we are still left in wonderful hands with the great finance team that we have. Thank you very much, Amy, though. Thanks for bringing that up. We'll move on to the town manager's agenda.
No,
Debbie?
ma'am. Nothing this evening, thank you.
Town attorney's agenda, Steve? Okay. The consent agenda?
Yes, ma'am. 5 items on the consent agenda this evening. First is the minutes from the December 14, 2015 meeting. The second is sort of an FYI to let you know that we have signed the contract for the 2016 4th of July fireworks, which is on a Monday. And we'll make application with the Visitors Bureau for grant funding. And we, once again, will include a postponement provision, which would be Tuesday, July the 5th. Second is a budget amendment to close law enforcement officers' fund into the general fund per the LGC's reporting requirements. Number 4 is a recommendation to increase the amount that we accept at the cashier's window by credit card to $5,000. And then lastly is annual certification of firefighters. The list must be certified by each local governing board in order to maintain eligibility for pensions and the line of duty death benefit provided by the state for firefighters. And the staff would recommend approval of the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor, please signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Thank you.
opposed? Thank you. One other thing I thought of with respect to budgeting and I don't know why the credit card policy made me think of it, but I don't know if everyone received the information or the letter from Miss Moore about her water bill. And I know not too long ago, I was contacted by another person in the town where they've suffered, or they've had leaks within their plumbing or piping or whatnot. And we had adopted a policy, well, first, there's been a policy in place for years about if there's a leak that's discovered and we can substantiate that we will only charge the individual for what water we truly have to pay for, because we get our water for the county. So we're able to make adjustments to the water bills for that. We, as a board, adopted an ordinance amendment where we allowed people to space out their payments over a longer period of time. Because we had a gentleman, you may recall, came here and he had a pretty hefty bill, and it was just really a burden to try to pay it within the way the ordinance was originally written, so we expanded that. Anyway, some of these recent challenges or issues really called to the attention of, should we be looking at, instead of doing water meter reading and billing quarterly, move to a monthly? And that way, if you have a leak, there's less time in between the reading, when you're going out and reading. And so I'd mentioned to Debbie, and she's already started looking into that with staff on, let's see what that would cost us to do. Obviously, switching from quarterly to monthly, our folks will have to be out reading the meters more often. So we're going to look at that and have that as part of our budget discussion as well. That will be information that will be presented. But I think it will be a matter of, there'll be pros and cons for us to look at that. I mean, certainly from an end user, being able to discover a leak and mitigate that much more quickly, so hopefully those water bills aren't so high. We just want to see what that does in turn to our additional cost and weigh the pros and cons with that. So I just wanted to let you all know that that will be new information that we'll get for the budget workshop as well.
And that was shared with her in the letter.
Yes, thank you, I saw that, so
Yeah.
appreciate that. Okay. Well, we're already to the second time set aside this evening for public comment on the agenda. Is there anyone that would like to speak at this public comment time? If not, you are really setting us up to have a record. This will probably be our record brief meeting, but important information. But anyone? Well, for those of you who came out this evening, thank you so much for being with us. Happy New Year, and we will come back together, I guess, February 8th for another official meeting. With that, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.